friends and family, significant other about this whole ordeal?
Yeah. I mean, in the beginning, it was like, oh my gosh, like that many people are watching this video and like that many people are liking this comment. Just a lot of excitement. And then when I said like, oh, I'm really gonna do this, they're like, oh my gosh, you're really going? I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm going to go do this. Like I've got some time to explore, have some fun. So I was like, why not? And they're all super supportive, super excited for me to see like all the videos and stuff.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you got to go, or else you'd have to delete your face or your Instagram together.
Shame.
You know? Okay, so where can people follow you? What are your social media tags?
Yeah, so on Instagram and TikTok at Windy City Josh. That's where you can follow me, stay up to date with all my Chicago content, this Thailand journey, and anything to come in the future.
Fun.
What was, when you started this, you moved from San Francisco, started this new thing, Windy City Josh. How big has it gotten as a result of this post?
Yeah, so in about 9-10 months, my Instagram has 5,500 followers around.
Wow.
Yeah. And then my TikTok is just hit over 1,000. So we're growing.
Nice.
Yeah, we're growing.
Nice.
That's cool.
That's so fun.
Josh Ray, hey, I'm going to be following along.
I have the time of your
Windy
life.
City Josh.
Yes, and we'll see what's next. You should just
Exactly.
make a travel thing. Say, hey, where should I go if this happens?
That's actually
It could be the next video.
that's a good concept. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
I will do whatever the top comment. The question is, it's like if you get something. I mean, you said you're glad you didn't get the tattoo. If people could put you in some pretty crazy scenarios.
Yeah, that's true. People can be pretty mean.
That's giving the internet a lot of power. Josh, I love what you're doing.
Creative.
Bon voyage. When do you leave? When's this happening?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow. Okay, this is happening like now.
And you're going to be there for 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, just about 2 weeks.
Keep
I
us
love it.
posted, man. Keep us posted.
Have
Josh
fun.
Ray, Windy City Josh, everybody. Wish him
Get rid of
luck.
that jacket. You
All
can't
right.
walk around Chicago in that Packers jacket. Come on.
Yeah,
Come on.
That'd be a challenge.
Yeah.
Wear that around
Thank
town.
you so much, guys.
Good to see you, Josh. Appreciate it. All right, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we are going to dive into the dangers of sugar. Obviously, this is one of the most shared pieces of advice in terms of cutting down on your weight.
Sure.
Cutting out sugar.
Sugar, alcohol, yeah.
Sugar, alcohol, but apparently there's a liver risk that has recently been uncovered. So we're going to learn about how too much sugar could put your liver at risk with Troy Duell, CEO of Centurion Health, when we come back right after this. Stay with us.
Win.
10:19. We may have a few minutes to burn here before we're joined by Troy, where we're going to be talking about the effects of sugar on your body. But I was just telling Anthony about this new invention that, well, I take this back. I don't know if it's a new invention, but it's something I just heard about over the weekend. And it's something called a brick. where it turns your phone into a brick. So what you do is on this device, I guess from what I've seen online, it can stick to your refrigerator or something, but you can pick which apps you can open during certain periods of the day. So like if you wanted to be off of social media and your email between 4 and 7, you can make it so that you just receive texts and phone calls between these hours. And I just feel like this invention is phenomenal. I would love to try it.
So we obviously, devil's advocate, I was like, okay, well, what if you have an emergency situation? Because this is what gets in the way. There are like screen time limits you can put within the architecture of the phone itself. You can say like, okay, after an hour of Twitter, it'll. So how, in your mind, is this different?
I don't know about these other ways to do it. So if it just gives you a warning, that's one thing. But
yeah, that's all I know about it. Is it gives you
the
a warning. You've hit your.
Like a heads up.
Yeah.
But I think this makes it so you literally can't. Because how many times are you just like sitting there, at least with me, I'll be sitting there, maybe playing with my kids, maybe they're in the bath, whatever, I'm sitting there and I just pick up my phone like,
like
it
compulsively.
Is, woo, and then I throw it. But no, really, I just like, constantly I'm like, and then if you see like the 1 or the 2 on like Facebook or Instagram, it's like, ooh, well, what's
notification, and those are designed as such. Those red notifications, they are designed to do that. That is another wrinkle to it, because what I bet happens is you can set it up so that the only thing that comes through, I bet you can set it up as, hey, if a call comes in from an immediate family member, or set up or a text, it'll alert you. But other than that, you are in the brick mode. Right.
Yeah, no, so maybe we could get them on. I'm not sure. Well, maybe we could work our connections and get an interview on there for you guys, because I think that would be super helpful, especially in the wintertime in Chicago when we're all on our phones, we're addicted, and we need to take a break.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Go for a walk.
I think with the pace of the news cycle, I have noticed that my own compulsive picking up of the phone, since everything happening with ICE, I feel like I am just in scroll mode way too often, and I need a big detox as well. That's been
because part of you feels like you got to keep up, but
yeah,
even like with the emails and stuff, like I would want to do it to that extreme. Like, okay, I'm going to block my work email, block my Gmail. I don't want to know if Amazon's about to deliver my package. Like, I just need something to help me break from my phone, and I think probably we're all good.
Okay, yeah, I like it. I like that it's a topic.
Anthony,
sure.
Addiction. I said this to you on the break. Like, if you with addiction, whether it be alcohol, gambling, we've had guests on before. Sometimes, sugar, you need help to break your addiction. And I think, devices like this or other things might be necessary because of our addiction to our phones.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
All right. While we wait on our doctor to talk about the potential dangers of sugar when it comes to our liver, we are going to check in with a couple of very talented guests here, storytellers. And this is a new series that is about to debut on WTTW, showcasing the efforts of 5 local people who are working to strengthen our democracy in their own unique ways. So we are joined this morning by Dan Protas, co-executive producer of Firsthand Democracy, and one of the subjects of the documentary series itself, Miten Patel? Miten Patel. You were a teacher at ETHS, correct?
Yeah, I teach at Evanston.
Evanston Township High School. Thank you guys both for being here. I want to start with Dan to lay the land for us, and then we'll get into Miten's role in this. But tell us about the series here and how you landed on this topic.
Yeah, so this is Firsthand. WTTW has been producing this series for 8 years now. And this year, our 8th year, it's the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. So we were thinking maybe democracy would be a good subject for this year, particularly because a lot of people are feeling like our democracy is a bit frayed, a little bit worn and tattered. And we wanted to show positive stories, though, of people who are doing what they can beyond the ballot box. You often hear this saying at protests, this is what democracy looks like. We wanted to show what democracy looks like. So what does it look like for people, Mitten and 4 other people to come out on a day-to-day basis and fight for democracy.
Okay, so Dan, obviously we're going to dive into the school, but
Yeah.
what are the other 3 guests that you had? How did you pick?
Yeah, I mean,
There's 5 total, right?
There's 5 total.
Okay.
The other
4
4,
others.
who's
Okay.
counting? Yes.
Yeah.
The other 4, so there's a woman named Marianne. She's with an organization called Braver Angels, and she's facilitating dialogue between Republicans and Democrats.
Oh, wow, that's so important.
Very difficult job. Yeah, the organization was founded by, I believe it was a social psychologist. The process is very much like group therapy at times, because we've, social media and whatnot, we've kind of forgotten how to talk to each other.
Right.
We've got a woman with an organization called Chicago Votes, who is down in Springfield, getting up at 4 in the morning and lobbying her legislators, and also just encouraging young people to vote. Young people just don't, you know this very well, don't come out to vote nearly enough. We've got a 72-year-old grandma named Julie who is out full-time, pretty much a full-time protester. Now that she's retired, she has a resistance calendar, she calls it, where she basically has a full-time calendar of going from protest to protest. And then we've got a woman who is a relatively new immigrant from Mexico, has become a U.S. citizen with the help of a nonprofit, and now she wants to give back, and she is teaching people who want to become citizens, preparing them for their citizenship
Oh, that's
test.
nice.
Oh, very nice. So nice wide variety.
Yeah.
And among the subjects is Meetin Patel. You are a teacher at Evanston High School. Tell us, first of all, your role in this and how you reacted when you heard from the producers of this that you were going to be featured.
Yeah, I mean, my role in this was to allow Dan and his team to come in and film students kind of doing what they do in AP Gov and Politics at Evanston Township High School. And yeah, like how I got involved was at the end of last school year, I get this curious email from WTTW saying like, hi, like we'd like to come in and like film your students. And it was at the end of the year, and I'm like, what is this? Like, this is like...
Can't be real.
Yeah, this can't be real. And I was like, sure. And I kicked it up the chain. I like sent it to my boss.
Right.
And I was like, hey, Nick and Pete, you take care of this. I'm not too sure what it is. And at the beginning of this school year, like you get an email like, here's our production schedule.
No
Yeah, we're going to be coming in like these dates and...
Get your students to sign these waivers and let's...
Wow.
Yeah, it's exactly what it was. So it kind of happened, slowly and then very quickly.
Okay, so how has this changed how you're approaching your classroom? Is it the exact same, you're just adding additional interviews, or have you changed your day-to-day?
No. I mean, everything stayed the same.
Okay.
I think there was just a little bit of a heads up, like, hey, by the way, when you're talking and having a discussion today, there might be like a camera in your face.
Yeah.
Like, but nothing changes.
And a makeup crew? No.
Yeah, right. I was like, you still have an assessment on this like next week, so yeah, we're not changing speed, we're not changing anything we do.
Got it.
Just kind of get used to it.
So, Meetin, tell us how you see your role as you said you teach an AP level,
Government, AP, Government and Politics.
Okay, so how do you view that as a contribution to democracy as we mark 250 years, like Dan said?
Like in terms of a contribution?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like all the other like civics or history classes that are taught at like ETHS. There's like the content part, which is important because you have to like learn about what has happened in the past, so you sort of just understand the history of this country. But then there's also like this through line of current events and why does all this stuff matter and what's going on now and how do you sort of connect things that took place in the past to what's happening today. Gov and Politics operates in a similar way that we have to learn about how our democracy was formed and why it was formed in the way that it was, but also like what is happening today. Like, it's difficult to like go through a class without like pulling up some sort of headline that's literally directly related to what we're talking about.
And it's constantly changing.
Sorry?
It's constantly changing, so you got to keep up with it.
Yeah.
I can imagine, Dan, too, so AP teacher, you know what's going on, you know the history, but Dan, have you had to do a lot of research in democracy in the past, in the present, in the future, what's to come to make this?
That's always at the start of the process of producing any season of this is like what does democracy look like, if that's the question that we're trying to answer, and what are the various ways in which people are fighting for democracy right here and now. I mean, I think what's so exceptional about your classroom is that you're connecting the Constitution to current events, and you're showing your students. I mean, first of all, there is a real lack of civics education. Not to sound like an old man here, but I am. There's a lack of civics education in our country. I mean, I'm the parent of a high school kid. It just seems like there's like a real lack of understanding of how the Constitution functions right here and right now. And, you know, with any documentary series, the series is always going to be somewhat a reflection of what's happening in the news right now. And during the window of filming this summer and fall, there were, you know, threats of the National Guard coming into Chicago. There was obviously ICE raids in Chicago. I mentioned earlier we were telling an immigration story, so it was pretty remarkable to see how the here and now was affecting, I guess, a document that's 250 years old.
I'm fascinated to see that too, because when I was going through high school in the 90s, this is the time where, like, okay, it was the Clinton years. It was, I'm not saying nothing was going on, but because there was some scandal coming out of that White House, obviously. However, all right, this is the day where, like, okay, it was boring. Like I probably couldn't have named the secretary, the cabinet members then. What is it like to, and I know that you're going to hit on this in the documentary, but to teach this subject where it has become, like, I don't want to say reality TV, but like politics as sports, all the memes, you know, we have, how engaged are teenagers in this topic now?
Yeah, and I mean, that's a great question. Like, I think I'm the luckiest teacher in the world, because like my students do a lot of the heavy lifting in class. Like, they come ready to like talk about what they're seeing and hearing and reading about, and they kind of like make the connections themselves, and they, you know, carry a lot of the conversations, start a lot of the conversations, engage one another in conversation about things that we're learning about, but also like what they're reading about. So like in that sense, like we went to high school right around the same time. It sounds like we had a pretty similar experience. I would say like students today, at least the ones that I've been privy to in 16 years of like teaching, they are plugged in, they do care, they want to understand more, and they want to hear from like what their peers are thinking. They want to hear what their peers are saying, and that's awesome, right? Like as a teacher, like that's the best way to spend 85 minutes.
That's amazing.
My question to you as a parent, it's a twofer. I've got two. One is, have you seen how much of an impact the parents' political views have on the kids? Does it go through to the kids, or are the kids, you know, learning on their own, making their own decisions, having their own opinions? And then number two, as you mentioned, social media, it's a very divisive place. People are fighting. It's, you know, friendships are ending. Do you find that with the young people, they're more able to communicate even if they have differing views versus the adults that you've seen?
Yeah, like to your first question, I think there is some element and level of like students maybe absorbing like their parents' political views. That's natural. You know, at the dinner table they're going to talk about.
Or it could be the opposite, you know?
Yeah. But there, exactly, like there are instances where like, hey, my parents and I were talking about this. Like this is sometimes like the way they bring things up, and I was saying this and they were saying that, and you know, my takeaway is great. Like, oh, that's awesome that you're having these conversations like with your parents. Like, how great is that? And then your second question of like,
are they able to communicate?
With one another?
Right.
It's incredible, like how well and how like just thoughtful these students are in like listening with intention. And
trying to understand.
You have to prime it a little bit, like, you know, the beginning of the year, you're establishing norms and things like that, but they really like click into gear very quickly when someone is expressing themselves, and it's like what we're doing right now. We're making eye contact. We're like, okay, I hear you, this is what I think, or I hear you and I agree with your point. Like, you hear that in classes that are mine, but also other classes that I'm like, you know, kind of sneaking in on at ETHS as well. Like,
Is there stress involved leading these kinds of discussions in an environment like today? You know, we report stories about X administrator or Y teacher has been, you know, disciplined for something a video that was shown or a statement that was made? Like, how is it? Is it like walking a tightrope these days, or how do you approach it?
Not so much. And again, a lot of that stuff just gets like nurtured at the beginning of the school year. Like, hey, we're going to accomplish a lot of things this year, but at the top of that list is like what we're going to accomplish is we're going to listen to one another, and we're going to hear each other's opinions, and we're going to recognize that your opinion may differ from somebody else, but the most important thing is to hear that person out. So like the stress kind of goes away as we just naturally unpack the courses we do, which is, conversation based, student led. And yeah, like
one thing that really comes out in your documentary is that you don't tell the kids what to think, which is maybe part of why you don't get a lot of blowback from administrators or from parents. It seems like you give them the evidence. This is the Secretary of Health and Human Services. This is what he has to say about vaccine mandates. What do you think? And then and the kids have a very intelligent, it makes me feel good about the future of our country.
That's very reassuring, because you watch this stuff play out over social media, and you see fiery clips of parents at board meetings and things, and you're like, oh boy, what is happening? This is fascinating. I'm so glad you chose him as a subject. We are getting the wrap from our producers right now. Where can folks check out this firsthand democracy series?
Right now they can go to WTTW.com/firsthand. And then tonight at 5:30 and 10 p.m., WTTW News is going to have a special on democracy, and we'll be covering democracy throughout the year.
Okay,
Thanks,
Dan Prodas and Meetin Patel, thank you very much for being here in studio. Can't wait to check out the series. Really appreciate you both.
Thanks for your time.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, I think it's sugar/liver time.
I think
so.
so.
We'll come back. Hope your Monday morning's off to a great start. We will be right back.
To Chicago.
10:38. That was such a good conversation.
Oh, man. You know what? I'm also, in addition to seeing the episode on his efforts, I am so curious about the woman who makes it her specific mission to foster dialogue between Republicans and Democrats and find where the dialogue is.
Almost.
Because to me, that's like the only way forward out of this.
Yes. And also the other.
And how she does that.
The guest that he's going to have about helping people become citizens.
Oh, yeah.
That whole process. I think that will be eye-opening to see what that is like. But my takeaway from that conversation with the teacher was that students are able to have conversations with each other face to face, and they're not fighting. They're having conversations with eye contact and understanding.
Important.
Rather than, you know, getting upset. So I love to hear that about our future generation. Okay, now let's talk about health, shall we? Sugar. You may have sugar addiction. I think many of us do. But something that you might not connect is too much sugar and effect on your liver. So joining us this morning is Troy Duell. He's the health educator and CEO of Centurion Health. Thanks for joining us this morning. Can you hear us, Troy?
I can't hear anything.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Can you hear us now, Troy?
Check. Can you hear us, Troy?
We got you loud and clear.
Can't hear anything.
Oh, no.
Tech difficulties.
We will have to. Okay, how about now? Do you have us
There
now?
we go.
There he is. Hey, Troy.
Sorry about that.
Okay,
Yes.
so can we talk about how we first started this discovery of connection of sugar and liver?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that has certainly been growing over the years, and we've seen study after study come out that have shown the connection between sugar and the liver in general, but our health overall. So there was one study that came out a few years ago that talked about if you take just 6 sugary drinks per week, then you are 2 times more likely to develop liver cancer and liver issues. So it's something that's been out there, but it's continuing to climb, and we're continuing to see more evidence showing that sugar is not our friend, and it seems to be in just about everything that we consume.
Wow.
So especially processed foods.
What is a way to measure this, okay? Because if I'm hearing that, oh my gosh, 6 drinks over the course of a week, I want to make sure I'm consuming a safe amount. So what can you tell us about how much sugar is, I guess, allowable and how much we Americans are consuming every day?
Great question. And I heard your comment earlier about making your brick phone. We kind of need that for sugar as well, because we need something to alert us when we go overboard. But for men, on average, what they recommend is we take in 36 grams of sugar per day. For women, it's about 24, but unfortunately, the average for an American diet is right at 77 grams of sugar per day. So we are blowing that out of the water. And when you think about it, one soda really has about 39 grams of sugar in it. So that in and of itself will put you over the top.
Okay, so let's talk about soda, because it's kind of come up a couple times, and I think that's probably one of the most common things that you think in your head. Okay, I can't have this sugary Coke.
Right.
Are there other options? Like, let's say we do a diet Coke instead, or those things called Zevias or Zevias, where it's that other kind of sugar, it's that natural sugar but 0 calories. Is there a way to have sodas where we're not adding to our sugar count?
Yeah, I think the Zevia is probably the better of those options. They've done some studies with Diet Cokes or with diet drinks in general, and they're finding that those actually become more addictive because the sweeteners that they're putting in there are about 700 times more sweet to our taste than regular sugar is, and it causes people to drink more. So they're still having liver issues when they go after diet drinks. So really the better alternative is go after some of those bubbly waters that you may that are flavored with some fruit flavorings and other things like that. That's a good alternative. The Zevia seems to be another good alternative, and just continue to stay aboard or abreast of what's going on with stevia itself, because there are some studies coming out that are suggesting maybe stevia is not as good for us as we'd like to think. I think it is still a better alternative from everything that I've read and looked at, but it's one of those things that we need to always look at doing in moderation instead of just jumping full bore into one of those things.
Makes sense. What, Troy, are some of the surprising foods where added sugars may be hiding and smuggling their way in to our systems without us realizing it?
Yeah, I think probably some of the biggest surprises to me when you start looking at those things are ketchup. So ketchup salad dressings, that's where we're getting a lot more sugar than we typically would think we're going to be getting from. And when you add that, you're getting 9 grams in some ketchups. You're getting some of that same amount in salad dressing. So you really have to be careful and at least cognizant of what's going on. And what it takes is just a truly intentional process of looking through those supplement facts and making sure that you're trying to limit the amount of sugar that you're taking in from a process standpoint. Now, we're not talking about fruits. We're not talking about vegetables. Those natural sugars are great because they come with all the added benefits of the vitamins and everything else that you get when you take in fruits and vegetables.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, you're not worried about us overdosing on strawberries or apples.
No, nobody worried about overdosing on apples or strawberries.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
So that's good.
No wonder my kid likes ketchup so much.
Oh, yeah.
So talking about our liver, if you are someone who consumes a lot of sugar, for example, my husband, I think he has this sugar addiction. He thinks so too. What are the warning signs that maybe your liver's not doing so well?
Yeah, some of the biggest and probably scariest is if your urine starts to turn dark. That's a good sign that your liver is not very healthy. If you start to get a little fatigued, a little sluggish during your day, that can be a sign that you're having some liver issues. So there are several things in place. And I think the other thing to keep in mind is obviously you've got lots of processed foods that have a ton of sugar in there. You've got lots of sugar that we add just from sweets and sodas. But the other thing to understand is our liver is getting taxed every single day. So 75% of the pharmaceuticals that you intake actually get processed through the liver. So you're just having a constant strain on your liver. So if you can do anything to help support your liver through supplementation, through what you're eating, by making sure you're having leafy greens, your broccoli, your cauliflower, those type things really help your liver start to rebound and get a little bit better. So those are things to keep in mind as well.
How optimistic can we be? Because I've heard that the liver can actually, heal itself over time with the right foods, like you just mentioned. Is that a cause for optimism? We can eat healthy for a while and really detox and rejuvenate our liver?
Absolutely. I think the body is an amazing thing, and it is created to help kind of build on itself. So if you change your lifestyle and you start to really get more intentional about what you're putting into your body can rebound and do some amazing things. So it is not a lost cause. If you have liver issues, you can start to work through that and really get to the point where your liver starts to rebound a little bit. Now there are certain places that it gets very, very difficult, but for the average person, if you just take subtle changes in your diet, that will go a long way in helping your liver regenerate and get back to where it needs to be.
This is great info. Troy Duell with Centurion Health. Thank you very much for your time this morning. Appreciate it a lot.
Thank you. Y'all have a great day.
All right, you too. We're going to take a quick break and switch gears when we come back. Guess what? Jazz Fest isn't just for the summer.
Yeah.
There is a winter jazz fair going on right across the street here. Chicago Cultural Center.
Fun.
Okay, so we're going to get a preview of what we can expect with Heather Ireland Robinson. She is the executive director of the Jazz Institute of Chicago, and she's going to be joining us after this.
2022.
Welcome back. So you think the Jazz Institute, you think summertime. Well, guess what? It's happening this Friday. We have a winter jazz fair at the Chicago Cultural Center. So joining us this morning to talk about it is Heather Ireland Robinson. She's the executive director of the Jazz Institute of Chicago. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So
Comment.
we're super excited. This is a one-day event, so write it down in your calendar right now before you forget. Let's dive in. Tell us about this event.
So it's a one-day, we consider it like an indoor jazz festival, winter jazz fair. You can start at 11 o'clock in the morning. We go until after 9 o'clock at night. We've got panel discussions, live music, all ages. If you want to sit and learn about jazz, you can. If you want to just chill and hear some music, you can as well. So entry points for all types of fans.
Friday. This Friday,
Yes.
okay? And there's going to be a lot of foot traffic downtown. Can anyone just like pop in?
You can just
The cult-
pop in.
Okay, because it's at the Cultural Center, corner of Randolph.
Randolph and Michigan. Or Washington. You can come in on the Washington side.
I like how you refer to it as the People's Palace.
The People's Palace. It's a place for all Chicagoans, and that's part of why the Jazz Fair is free.
It's amazing.
Pop in
And what a great space it is. If you have not ventured into the Chicago Cultural Center, walk in and just admire the surroundings.
marvel. People my age will remember it as the library, but I also have to shout out our partners at the city and DCase that have been extremely generous, and we work with them on the Jazz Festival. We have for over 40 years. So partnering with them on this project, on this space, has really been fabulous.
Amazing.
How did you guys decide to do it just for one day, and how did you pick Friday?
So it started in 1979, the same year as the Chicago Jazz Festival, and it was actually on Mondays. And the idea was, the venues are dark, the musicians aren't working on a Monday, everybody gather, let's do something warm inside while it's cold outside. But we just grew to a Friday because it's still a weekday, and it still gives people a chance who are downtown to come in and check it out. And most of the musicians are kind of free during the day. You know, we've got students performing, we have a jam session, so they'll be playing in the afternoon. So again, all day, there's something for someone to see.
Okay, let's run through what lineup we're talking about here. What kind of music is going to be on display, and what kind of performers are you inviting inside?
Sure. So all kinds of jazz. New voices that are new to the scene that are carrying the legacy forward. But that night at around 8 o'clock, we got Bobby Irvin III, who's doing a tribute to both Miles and Coltrane, both of whom would have turned 100 this year.
Wow.
Bobby actually played with Miles Davis, so you're like 1 degree of separation away from that kind of history. Then we've got our students doing a jam session in the afternoon, so it's historic. It's the jam session that we do at the Jazz Showcase. Then we've got some other new voices during the day and some other names that you would have heard: Bobby Wilson, Christian Dillingham. So some folks that you know on the Chicago scene, but again, those voices that are carrying the music forward. But we're going to have that history as well. There are also panel discussions. If you want to hear more about the music, we have an alumni discussion. We've got Dana Hall from DePaul that's going to talk about protest music. So lots of opportunities. Neil Tesser will be doing something about the history of jazz and the venues. Chicago is a venue town, so he's going to talk a little bit about all the venues in Chicago and the history of the jazz clubs. So, anything you want to know about jazz or anything you want to hear, pop in. Like you said, it's right there downtown on your lunch hour, or come by after work in the evening.
Can we talk about other events that you guys have going on? Because I've never been to this location. Of course, this is this Friday, but what else do you guys have during the week and on the weekends?
Sure. So we actually helped start this Chicago Jazz Festival in 1979. So your Chicago Jazz Festival right here in Millennium Park, that's the Jazz Institute and the City of Chicago. We have a Latin Jazz Fest at Humboldt Park in July. We do a program called Jazz City, which is a partnership with the Chicago Park District. Free jazz concerts about once a month in the parks. We also have a robust slate of education programs. So we're developing audiences and giving folks an opportunity, but we're also generating that next generation of jazz musicians in schools and out of schools.
Wow.
Is Chicago still the mecca for jazz in this country right now? I mean, the history.
Yes, the history of jazz in Chicago, for those that don't know, it came up from New Orleans, kind of rooted here in Chicago, and then spread to the world. You've got New York, you've got New Orleans, you've got Kansas City, San Francisco. There are a lot of cities that are doing incredible jazz, but that history, that heartbeat, that beginning, we changed the sound with Louis Armstrong. So there was a certain kind of sound in New Orleans, came here to Chicago and developed into jazz as we know it today, and it's ever evolving. Jazz is changing all the time. That's what we love about it.
My question to you is, maybe there's somebody who doesn't have much experience with jazz. Where should they start? Should we go on YouTube? Should we go on ChatGPT and just ask questions to find videos of the history of jazz, especially in Chicago?
Start here and start here. I think a lot of people think I gotta be focused, I gotta turn on my left brain
Miles
to really
Davis,
understand.
John Coltrane
I mean, you
playlist.
want to start with the Miles and the Ella Fitzgerald if you like vocalists. So start with that history. Sure, do a quick research, but there's so many different kinds of jazz. So I would encourage people to start with the history of jazz, to visit your local clubs. A lot of folks are maybe intimidated, like, well, what's the vibe going to be? Am I going to be welcome?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Take a date night, take your girls, check out some of the fabulous venues that are here in Chicago.
Speaking of the Cultural Center, which is the venue for this particular fair, where is, in terms of the layout, because I know there's it's a big facility.
Right.
Well, how do you guys do it? You said there's panel discussions, but there's also, a jam session and then some more formal stuff. How's it all laid out?
Right, so there are two main halls in the Cultural Center. For those that know, there's Gar Hall and there's Preston Bradley. If you walk in either the Washington or the Randolph side and go up the stairs, it's going to take you right to one of those spots. Most of those places will have music the whole time. We also have lots of maps and lots of volunteers and lots of people saying, go upstairs, go this way and go that way. So it will be easy to find the music. Again, like I said, open your ears and you'll hear it. But what's great about the Cultural Center is it's pretty easy to navigate if you're just kind of walking around and poking around.
Yeah. Okay, if someone wants to plan their day on Friday to know what time they want to pop in, should they just go to your website?
Go to our website, jazzinchicago.org. And if you don't do that, everyone, we're asking people to register, but you absolutely do not have to. Just walk in the Cultural Center, find some folks in a Jazz Institute t-shirt, or just listen up and go where your heart leads you. We'll be there all day, like I said, until after 9 o'clock.
I love that.
I think it's going to be great. And then, Caitlin, it's going to be
mild
temperatures Friday, so people are going to be downtown.
Yes.
Might be a little bit wet Thursday night into early Friday, but then we're drying out.
I think it's going to be huge.
And then it's cold.
Anything you can tell us about Jazz Fest this summer? I mean, I know but our plans in the works.
Plans are being made as we speak. We're having meetings weekly, but it is Labor Day weekend, so it'll kick off that Thursday and go till Sunday. So I'll come back and give you guys
the whole lineup. I know you guys are working hard on that.
I think folks are going to be thrilled about the mainstream and some classic stuff that we got going on.
Oh, man, isn't it fun just to think about that already?
We were driving in, I was like, it's happening. It's coming.
I know, but this is a nice little hit. This will tide us over. Heck yeah. All right, Heather Island Robinson, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Hope it's a huge success. And Caitlin, you have no excuse. It's only a block and a half away. You got to look at the ceiling and the mosaics.
Tiffany Dome, the mosaics, yes.
Amazing.
And Gar Hall.
Anthony knows his architecture.
I do. I mean, I'm kind of a nerd that way. We actually, for 11 o'clock, I don't think we have a live Chicago Now. It's more of a review. This President's Day. We're kind of on holiday hours here at Fox Chicago. Caitlin and I will be right back here tomorrow morning. And we hope you have a great President's Day. Enjoy.